Okie dokie, okie dokie. Well, guys, thank you so much. We have our third educational day, and what an educational day this is going to be. I mean, it's not every day you get the youngest winning Breeders' Cup trainer with 10 graded grade ones, 42 graded stakes wins, with over 600 wins. It's just so cool to have someone like that who's been around the world. You know, Saudi Arabia Cup. I mean, sorry, the Dubai World Cup to the Kentucky Derby, running in all these races. And Craig, for you to be here, we really appreciate it, and we can't thank you enough, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me, and I'm very honored to be part of the educational day. And I'm an open book, and people ask questions, anything, from the how's the weather out there to how's my horse doing.
That's awesome, Craig. Well, you know, I think we will. I think you and I will just kind of chit chat for a little bit, and then at the very end we'll do a Q&A. But you know, I think
Okay.
one thing you and I kind of share is we have wonderful dads that really showed us and guided us uh, through horse racing, and showed us why it's incredible to love the sport. And so I thought we could start off with kind of your younger years and your relationship with your dad and how he got you involved in horse racing and what that was like for you as a young guy.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. My dad actually was my mentor all my life. I actually never worked for anybody else other than my father, and what a great mentor he was. And I was lucky enough when I grew up. I actually grew up on a farm up in Northern California called Atascadero, and my mom and dad they put this farm together, and actually it was 250 acres of just land. And us young kids, I grew up in 1970. I was born, and they bought this farm, and they wanted to raise us kids there, which they did, and ended up being a breeding slash leg up farm for young horses. So I've been around horses all my life since I've been a little kid, and my dad's paved the way for me. My mom and dad very supportive. Worked for my dad. Wow, I mean, all the way up to about 95, I was probably 10 and started working with the horses at the farm and had a great life living at the farm. And then in 85 is when we moved here to LA, and my dad would want to start training again. And he had his trainer's license early on in the early or late 60s, early 70s, and then they ended up having four children. So I'm the only boy, three sisters growing up, and I always kid. I never saw a bathroom growing up when I was a boy. Having three sisters in the house, it was pretty
Yeah,
tough.
yeah,
But
you just have to hold
but
it.
I learned a lot. I've been around horses ever since I just like being a little kid, and very fortunate to be able to grow up on a farm and be around the animals, and just kind of learn my knack from there. And like I said, it was about 85. My dad started training again here in at Santa Anita, and and the whole family moved, and we he actually had his first Kentucky Derby horse in 1987, and that was exciting. Uh, I think, uh,
That's incredible, Nansen. Craig, I said his wife's name there. My apologies.
yeah,
Craig, that's so cool. And it's your dad. I mean, he had so much success. I mean, Hall of Fame trainer. Everyone knew him at the track. Everyone just had great things to say about your dad. And for him to have two Eclipse horses. Though, I might be mistaken, but I think it was All Greek to Me and Jewel Princess.
correct. Two champions, yes.
Two
Hmm.
champions. And you know, what was it like being my age or a little bit younger than me now, and seeing him around these quality horses? What were certain things that you were able to pick up and still use to this day from your dad?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I was like a sponge when I was a kid growing up, and always trying to learn, and not just from my dad, from other trainers too when I was young. And I was a barn rat. I'd be at the barn 24/7 if I could, and I literally sleep with these horses when I was working for my dad when I was young. But I was around both those champions. I came up through those horses and watched my dad develop those horses, and my dad had a great eye for a horse. Did a lot of buying at the overseas sales and did very well. Had a lot of success doing that. My mom and him would go over and travel over every year to go to Europe and find those horses and bring them over here, and won a lot of big races doing that. And then he'd go to the sales too, and that's when he bought It's All Greek to Me. He bought him out of the sale and turned him into a champion and champion turf horse. And that 1990 it was. I was 20 years old, working for my dad at the time, and he won the Eclipse Award that year for champion older horse. And just a few years later, Jewel Princess won the distaff in Canada, up there in Woodbine, and she won that distaff and was crowned champion that year, distaff mare. So I was there, and that's when I left my dad after '95. I went on my own in 1995, but up until that point, I was around a lot of good horses and saw how my dad picked them out and his great eye, and it's not easy to do that, and you have to have a special eye for a horse, and my dad definitely had that, and I think I've learned that from him over the years.
Oh, that's obvious. I mean, it's obvious to see that that gene was passed down aggressively to you, as I've seen it time and time again. And I think that kind of rolls me into nicely into you and history in horse racing, and you being the youngest winning Breeders' Cup trainer of all time with re-raise. And I'm just hoping you could kind of walk me through what being a guy in his 20s, young 20s, and having a horse like Re-Raise and winning the Breeders' Cup and being on that path at such a young age, and what that felt like for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it did. My success did come very early, but I was prepared for it. Um, so, quick story with my dad when we were doing well, winning races, and I would always kind of at 10 o'clock, my dad would get on the phone and start talking to owners about races and pull the condition book out. And here I am looking over his shoulder, pretty much telling him, "Oh, Dad, we don't want to do that. Dad, we don't want to do that. No, no." It came to the point where, son, you are ready to go on your own. And I'm saying that politely, but it was in '95. It's like, okay, I'm ready to start my own stable, and that's basically when I started on my own. Is in '95, and I was, well prepared and ready. So, but what I started doing actually. I got all that information and soaked up all that from my father over the years and other trainers too. I'd ask a lot of questions, and like I said, I was kind of a sponge, just always trying to learn. The great Bobby Frankel was one of them. He kind of took me under his wing a little bit too. At times, we talk a lot too at Hollywood Park. There, I remember the days. And Bobby didn't talk to a lot of people, but he liked the Delases, and
Mm-hmm.
he would give me some pointers and stuff on things, and I would obviously appreciate that and use that to this day. But I'm a very approachable person and easy to talk to, and I probably get that from my mother's side. But my mom's such a sweetheart, and everybody loves her. And dad was a tough guy. He loved getting on his pony, and it's hard to believe. It's been over 10 years now since he's passed, but great human being and great horseman for sure. But me,
100%.
like I said, '95 started on my own. But what I did, guys, I started off claiming horses. Is what I started doing, and I had a knack for just looking at certain horses, and I'd go through the form and pick out consistency and conformation, and go watch the horses. Usually before I claimed them, I would go over there and watch the race before they ran, and nowadays you have so many things out there where you can watch them breeze and what have you. Before that, they didn't have that back then when I started, but I did very, very well. I won at a very high percentage early on, and just getting back to re-raise, ended up buying him. It was a partnership we put together, and we bought him after his maiden win, and I was just so fortunate to put that all together and to go that journey we had that with that horse. Just was remarkable, and he literally had 9 starts with 8 wins and a second. And Richard Matlin actually picked him out. Him and Bruce Headley picked the horse out as a yearling, but he was by nothing out of nothing. He just had no pedigree at all, but he had this physique to him and this stride that was unbelievable. And he was a very fast horse, and he was a sprinter type horse. But I
Mm-hmm.
was got put it together. We partnershipped it up, and a couple of people buyed in over time, and he ended up, I won 7 races with him, 8 races with him. And, that ride was just unbelievable, being 27 at the time. And his last race before we went to the Breeders' Cup, it was at Turfway Park, I remember. And we had to supplement re-race to the Breeders' Cup. So he had to win that race for us to take that money and supplement him, because he wasn't Breeders' Cup eligible. He won that race by 9 lengths, and it was just a thrill, being one of the favorites going into the sprint. And I think he went off second choice. My brother-in-law at the time was Corey Nakatani, and he rode the horse. And it was just amazing, what that run we had with that horse. And Nancy and I were just dating at the time, and she's been along for the whole ride, my wife, and it was just a wonderful time, and wonderful, uh, just to have my parents there too, my dad and mom in the winter circle, and
Oh,
it was just remarkable. It really was. Yeah.
it's such a special time that only 0.0000% of one people get to experience, and that is so cool that it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I mean,
No,
for
appreciate it.
everyone here knows. I mean, everyone can say, "Oh yeah, that's multiple grade one trainer, Breeders' Cup." I just know him as Uncle Craigie. So Uncle Craigie, and it's so cool to see the success that he has had. And Craig, we have a lot of Washington investors here with claim to fame, and I truly I have so much love for all of our investors. It feels like a real racing family, and I'm so grateful for everyone in here. And the big race here is the Longacres Mile, and you were able to win that race with an 8-year-old at the time. Could you walk me through your relationship with Awesome Gem? He was kind of like Bud Royale to you for what my family was, what Bud Royale was to my family.
Sure.
And are you able to touch upon how you're able to do the complete opposite of what some of these other trainers that get these $1 million horses and only get them for 6 races, and then that's that? How you can keep the longevity of these horses running in greatest stake races at the age of 8 and winning? Could you kind of
Yeah.
touch on that?
Well, of course, yeah. The key word there is patience, I think, and that's something my dad taught me at a young age. He says you gotta be very patient with these horses, and know when to stop on them, and it takes a unique individual, and I learned that from my dad. He kept horses going for a long time too, and a credit to him. I learned from him, and Awesome Gem being one of them. It's interesting because so Awesome Gem was owned by a partnership called West Point Thoroughbreds, and I was very fortunate to train for them. In '05, they came to me. I trained for them over a decade, and Awesome Gem was one of the first horses we bought out of the Barrett sale down here in California. And I was part of the team, looking at the horses. And the old famed Buzz Chase was, he was the bloodstock agent that was part of the buying with Awesome Gem. So bought the horse for 150,000, but the horse had chips in his ankles when we bought him, but we loved his pedigree, and I was part of that team in buying him and saying, well, let's just do the surgery on him and give him some time and bring him along slowly. And I don't know how much, I mean, obviously that was kind of the plan. We kind of had to, really, and we did, and the rest was history. He won just under $3 million, and he was like, yeah, $2.8 million this horse won. And I'm so proud of how I campaigned this horse from day one. I
Mhm.
broke his maiden, and his last race was a 9-year-old. He actually won the Berkeley Handicap as a 9-year-old, and won, like Kevin mentioned, the Long Acres Mile as an 8-year-old with David Flores. But what a ride! This horse took us everywhere. And it took him about 9 or 10 starts to break his maiden. And I was trying to kind of figure him out. He was kind of a lazy horse, and that was probably a good thing, because he didn't push himself too much, and he just did just enough what he had to do. And he knew where that wire was, that's for sure. He had ended up having like 52 starts. So I was very proud of my how I trained him and the time I gave him off. I'd probably get 7 or 8 good races a year with him. Traveled all over the place. I mean, from Dubai, not Dubai, I'm sorry, to Hong Kong, and to Iowa, of all places, and then multiple Breeders' Cups. Won the Hollywood Gold Cup Grade One, and that was a race was kind of a nemesis to me over the years, but I finally got it done with Awesome Gem. And they ended up having an awesome gem day actually at Holiday Park when he retired. That was kind of cool. And we paraded the horse in front of the crowd, and he was really a crowd favorite. But just to have that horse from day one, 52, 53 starts, run till he was 9. Very he retired a sound horse, so that was very gratifying to me. So longevity was definitely in his middle name, that's for sure.
That is awesome. What a cool horse to have. And it actually, from not many people that know this, but there was a anniversary Law Anchors event, and I think it happened in 2015, maybe. I want to say it was 2015, and they invited all the past winners out with their silks uh, at Emerald Downs, right in front of the finish line. And it was there that we actually connected with Nancy. We've always been
Yes.
very close friends with the Dollase family, but the opportunity presented itself, and we started getting to chatting. And right then there, it's been 10 plus years of calling you Uncle Craigie and going out and going out and claiming horses and running graded stake races and winning them. So we can't thank
Amazing.
you enough, Craigie. And it's been so much fun. I could ask you all these questions like I do. You always get annoyed with me when you see me, anyways. But I want to kind of turn it. I want to turn it to all the investors, because it's not every day that we get to ask questions to a trainer like Craigie. So if anyone wants to ask a question, if you guys can just click the raise button and in order, and I'll be able to see. All right, Ginny, you're up first. You got everyone beat on that one. Oh, and Ginny, if you could unmute yourself, I think you might be muted.
Yep. Hey, Craig, it's so good to meet you. Thank you for taking the time with us.
Absolutely.
I wanted to know, I was around horses and just trained Western Pleasure when I was young. It's one thing to be around horses, but what made you decide you wanted to train them?
Yeah, well, great question. And I think it was in my blood, really. I mean, you know, we all had the horse bug. Like I said, I was so fortunate. I tell my girls, Nancy, my wife, and I have been together almost 30 years now and have two wonderful girls, Audrey and Alyssa. And I always tell the kids, you guys don't know how lucky your father was to be able to grow up on a farm and do the farm life, and it was great. About 15 years of my life, I was at a farm. And so I had the knack then, I think. It was just something I always wanted to do. And I was a graduate of Arcadia High School, and I played basketball. I love sports, but I always went back to the horses, and I thought to do the college thing, and it's just like, I took a few courses here and there, but I always just went up, going back, Dad, I just want to do this. And okay, son, he put me to work. He really did, and I work very hard, so I know what hard work is. And but I loved every bit of it. I have a passion for it, and I was just very fortunate to be, do something I love doing. And I've been very fortunate to, be able to call this my career job and get up every day. And the best part of that is these horses, they don't talk back.
Well,
They really don't.
I'm from a little town called Whittier in
Yeah.
Southern California, so I was at Hollywood Park a
Oh,
while for
yeah,
many
very
times,
nice. Yeah,
and Santa
yeah.
Anita.
The tougher part about my game, I think it's probably talking with the clients. That's the toughest part. The horses is the easy part. So no, I'm kidding. But no, I'm so fortunate to be around a lot of good people, and like I said, I've trained for partnerships in the past, and sounds like Kevin's got something really brewing here, and a good thing, and I'm really proud of him, and glad to be part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Craig. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free to just raise the little button there. Oh, we have Julie. Julie, you're up next.
I'm up. Hi. How do you decide when to push a horse and when to back off?
Oh, that's a good question. Again, that just comes back to experience, and you got to every horse I train is as an individual. I don't know if that's the case in most big barns. Maybe guys all train the same way. I don't. Me, I'm one of those guys. First off, I don't really start my day until 6:30 when the sun comes up. I'm one of those trainers. I don't like. I can't see my horses train in the dark, so why am I going to go out that early and not be able to see them train? So I watch all my horses individually train. and each one's unique, and you just get a feel for how they're training, what their demeanor is each day, filly and colt, gelding, you name it. They'll kind of tell you, if they start backing off their feet a little bit, or their coat looks a little dull. These are all things that I look for. And if they need to be backed off on a little bit, so be it. You have to kind of do the talking for the horses a little bit, and that's a knack that I've always gotten just learning over the years, and being around my father and asking other trainers and seeing what they've done. And I pride myself bringing my horse over looking very healthy, and that to me is just the most important. A happy horse will go a long way, and that's the key there. And you got to know, like you said, just when do you stop, when do you go on with. It's a fine line, but it's something I think I have a little bit of a knack for, other than maybe the other guy. But that just maybe separates me from other people. I don't know, but that's how I do it, and I'm very patient, and that's a tough word to say to clients sometimes, but in the long run, I can name some horses that we've had with Jeff and his family that we've had a lot of success with by just being patient. So.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
question, Julie. Thank you so much. Anita, I think you had your hand up next on the list.
I thought you were going to put me at the bottom because I'm your sister.
No, I was going to, but I was like, can anyone see me do that?
Hi, Anita.
First of all, hi, Craigie. Gosh, I miss you over there. It feels like
Likewise.
in LA now. But I was
Yes.
going to ask a question, and also just because I just am so interested in it and I love to see it. Whenever we come over and we see, or on Instagram, we see Armando, who's our jockey, having that relationship with Mammoth and like his horses that he rides very frequently, just like how it is as a trainer to see that and see, these jockeys that just absolutely love the horse. And you see Armando get on Mammoth every time, give him a kiss. Like he knows that that's his rider, and just how that relationship is, and how the relationship and chemistry is. Two-part question. The chemistry is with like your client, and like I guess we can use that as an example, and just how important the trainer owner client's chemistry and relationship kind of is too.
Right. Oh, absolutely. First off, on the horse end with the jockey, that is so important. I mean, and Armando's, he just exudes class, first of all, as a human being. I'm so proud of him, and he won his first stake race with Midnight Mammoth. And he's come a long way from just being an exercise rider up north to coming down and really establishing himself. And I give, I might be a little biased because my brother-in-law for so many years was Corey Nakatani, and I really, these guys, they don't get enough credit for what they do. I mean, you just put it in perspective. These guys have an ambulance that chases them around. Just think about it. I mean, what other sport has an ambulance chasing you around while you're, going out there and doing your craft? And I can't give these guys enough credit. And Armando's so positive always. And I love his energy. And when we're, just to have any horse that he rides for us, it's always upbeat. And I think the horses feel it too. I really think they do. And that's so important, and just really proud of Armando and the relationship he has with me and you guys as clients, and with the horse, obviously. As far as just the everyday, the second part of the question was again, with the clients. So my dad always told me, son, whatever you do in this business, never burn your bridge with anybody and stay communicative. And those words just chime with me to this day. In any business, really, but especially the horse business. And there's going to be ups and downs and lows in this game, and you just got to persevere through it. And I've been there, done that, and seen my dad go through it over years. And he's had some rough times too when he trained, and he's always gotten through it. And the horse always came first. But have that communication with the clients. That's so important. Be on the same page. Nobody wants to hear bad news. That's in anything. But you just gotta just be on the same page. Be honest with your clients, and you'll have a successful career. And I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of very good people who are not just clients but close friends now. So been very blessed.
Thanks.
Aw.
Mhm.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks, Annie. So second, for another question here from Steve Richards. Steve, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, my friend? Steve, you there, pal? Let me see. I don't think we can hear you, Steve. Can anybody hear Steve, or is that just me? No?
Mhm.
Okay, well, Steve, maybe you can figure that out and let me know, and then I think we'll just move on to Brad. Brad, I think you had a question. Don't worry, Steve, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, how you doing? So,
We're all good.
all right, Craig, thanks for joining us. Hey, I had a question. We've had there are some trainers that seem to run their horses every week sometimes, and other ones like every 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I was wondering what you thought was the optimal to how often to race a horse.
Well, I mean, every week is pretty excessive, I think. Even 2 weeks is a pretty good quick turnaround. But not saying that I haven't done that. That goes back to just knowing your horse, knowing, and a lot of times it depends on what kind of race it can be for too. If you're running the horse in a condition up over his head or doesn't look like, he'll be competitive there, that might be a moot point running him there. But if you're running him spots where he's kind of found his friends and he's comfortable, and I mean, every 2 weeks is okay. But again, you got to monitor the horse. They're not machines, and look after the horse's well-being after each of those races. And after a while, if you run them every 2 weeks for a while, that's probably not advantageous for the animal moving forward. It might be a little too much, and again, you got to think of the animal first and the health of the animal, and that's very important. But I would say a 2-week turnaround is not the worst thing, but I wouldn't do it excessively. That's for sure.
All right, thank you very much. Hey, and
Sure.
who do you got in the Derby?
Let's see. I'm a California guy, so I'd love to see who they're friends of mine too. A horse called So Happy from Mark Glatt. Mark Glatt's actually a Seattle native from up in Seattle area. And I've been rooting for Mark, and this horse ran third his last start, first time routing, and he'll be a little bit of a price in the Derby. But I love to see Mark and his family and those connections do well and go on to the Derby. He deserves it. Mark's had a tough go here of late. But Mark Glatt's a good friend of mine, very good horseman, and I'd love to see So Happy run well in the Santa Anita Derby.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate your question. Thanks, Craigie. Second on the list here was John. Hey, John, how are you, pal?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Craig, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Kind of a basic question, but we're all investors. We all want to be Craig one day. When you're looking to claim or add a horse to the stable, to the crew, what is the it factor you're looking for? Not pedigree. Obviously, the horse runs fast, but what's that it factor you look for in a horse when you're looking to bring it in for yourself, your clients, as an advisor?
Well, usually the horses that give me a little bit of a wink, they wink at me, No, I'm kidding. That it factor has to be, the horse has to have a really good shoulder on him. My dad taught me that. And it's as crazy as it sounds, but that's where all the power comes from, believe it or not. And I always look for a beautiful shoulder on a horse. And I could name a few horses that we have in the barn. One of them might be Midnight Mammoth. Beautiful animal, beautiful moving animal. But I say the it factor, and great question, is they have to have a nice shoulder. Conformation has to be good, not perfect, but they have to have a certain stride. And that's so key to a horse's success and soundness, is their stride and how they hit the ground. And Midnight Mammoth's a perfect example of that. He's practically flawless as far as his and I'm bragging on Midnight Mammoth a little bit, guys, but
Hey,
I
I
have
love
to.
it.
I have to, yeah. This horse, he's just a little bit crooked on his right front, but he moves like a horse I've never seen. He moves like Sunday Silence. Okay. Sunday Silence is a beautiful black horse that moved like unbelievable. And it reminded me of this horse because I actually, when I claimed Midnight Mammoth, quick story, I watched his form, watched him on the track, Mr. Cigar couldn't get off the floor as quick as I told him about this horse, and we went to go claim Jeff. And are you on the line, Jeff? I don't know if Jeff's on the line.
He's there. Yeah, he's
Okay.
there. He's looking at us.
Oh yeah,
Jeff,
Privacy, baby.
he couldn't wire the money down quick enough to get this horse, and I never forget when we went back to claim Midnight Mammoth. But just a beautiful moving horse, but he's a little crooked. And believe it or not, of all of the trainers that, and Bob Baffert, he bought this horse. Okay, Bob's got a good eye, obviously, but he was a little bit crooked. And I think if he was straighter, he probably would have gone for, you know, 700,000. But he went for 70,000. And anyway, long story short, I claimed the horse thanks to the Señoras, and here we are today. But there's a perfect example of a horse with a beautiful shoulder, beautiful mover on the track, and he has just a beautiful head and eye on him. Intelligence. You can see the intelligence in his animal. So there's a perfect example right there for you.
Great
Awesome.
question.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great question, John. Thanks so much. And Craig, great explanation. That was fantastic. And I'm excited for there's some excitement building with the second fund here, and you know, especially with Craig and his eye and some of the opportunity that he presents to us. It's all very cool. So I can say for now. But anyways, moving on. Mary, how's it going, Mary? I think you're up next for your question.
Hi, I'm Mary Howell. Nice to meet you, Craig and
Hi,
team.
Mary.
This is the first one I've been able to join, this is awesome. Thank you. I have a couple of questions, hopefully. One is there's only 24 hours in a day. How many horses can you manage or make decisions about? And then do you have people who work under you that help you?
Well, great question once again. You know, I've had up to 60 horses at one time, and I could handle that if you have the right help. That's the key. In any business, you're only as good as your help is. And I've been very fortunate to actually have people that worked for my dad before he, you know, hung up the boots and stopped training, that came to work for me. And then their sons and daughters followed path and work for me. So, I mean, we've been very, very fortunate to have good help and good people work with me from day one that started my career. And that's so important. So, just having those people there on a day-to-day basis, knowing I could take a few days off here or there, knowing the barns run great. I currently have 14 horses right now. And I am a very hands-on guy myself. I touch all their legs every day. And my help sees that, and they learn from me. And we'll jog horses and constantly go over them all the time and look for little things that might come up on that somebody else might not see. And that's where I think I get that experience on the claiming end and moving horses up off people, is they probably don't put as much time and effort as I do as far as the small stable I have. So I'm very, very, you know, what's the word? Just conscientious about the horse's well-being each and every day, because things change all the time. So I'm comfortable training probably, you know, 20 to 25 horses. I've had up to 60. It's been a lot. But I've downsized obviously over the years, and that's okay because I'm more in tune to my barn now. And you know, I've like I said, come across some very nice horses over the years, and I've had the 10 claimer and I've had the grade 1 stake horse. So I've seen both aspects of the animal in front of me. That's for sure.
And do you only train thoroughbreds, or do you train quarter horses at all?
Just the thoroughbreds. Yeah,
just making sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary, for your questions. I think here we have Paul. Paul, you're up next, my friend.
Hi, Paul and Susie here. We're relatively new to this, and I got to tell you, we really appreciate your passion, Kevin, yours, about this. That's contagious and fun to be along for the ride. We also really appreciate all the references and your obvious care for the well-being. You've used soundness several times. So my question is, what causes the catastrophic injuries in races, and how do you approach avoiding that? What do you think about what do you build it? And are there certain tracks that you have concerns about in terms of the safety of the horses?
Yeah, very good question. And if I could tell you that, man, I'd love to know that and have a crystal ball and find out, why these horses break down when they do. But, I think it's very important to put a good foundation under a horse, and not over race them like the question earlier is work race them every week or 2 weeks. That's just not right. That's not, that would be something I would frown from. But putting the foundation of the horses early on as a 2 or 3 year old is so key to their development. And don't rush a horse that has open knees. A lot of these 2 year olds will have open knees still, and guys will push them, push them, push them, and you just don't want to do that. Perfect example actually was a horse. I learned early on in my career. Re-Raise, my champion. I heard that he was, before we bought him privately, he was turned down by 3 different trainers, and I won't say who their names were, because he had open knees. And I said, well, okay, why don't you just give the horse some time? Everybody just wanted to press on with him right away. So we bought the horse, gave him, 90 days, brought him back, and as they say, the rest of history. I ended up winning 8 of 9 starts with that horse. So just by being patient, letting his bones set, and he was a very sound horse. He didn't run very often because he ended up having a soft tissue injury that ended his career early, unfortunately. And that was not, yeah, he ended up being a riding horse at the end of the day. In Virginia, actually, they retired him. But that was unfortunate. It was something that happened on the track. It was actually in the morning. He ended up having a soft tissue injury. But back to your question about, when, how there's really, I've had some of my soundest horses have incidences that you walk away from and thinking, wow, where'd that come from, and it's funny. I was actually John Sheriff was another person that I used to have a real close rapport with, and matter of fact, about probably a month or so before he passed, we were talking about that. He says, Craig, he's all, some of the soundest horses are the ones that, sometimes that happens to, and you just never know why they take a bad step or something like that. But he trained the great Zenyatta all those years. I said, how'd you keep her so sound? No, we took her on safe track every day. As trainers, you look for consistency. You want a consistent track each and every day when you train these horses. So that helps a lot in keeping these horses sound. And it was interesting that John said that about Zenyatta. And he says, I miss Hollywood Park. I miss Hollywood Park. He'd say that all the time. And I agree with him. That was probably one of the best tracks in North America before they closed down. But there was just so much consistency. And as a trainer, when you're looking to train horses, you're looking for that. And that helps with a horse's soundness. And so I look like, the horses I have and some of the, not just the stake horses, but any horse I think might be a little suspect, I'll take them on a renovated track. I won't take them out on a bad track in the morning, and make sure they go out and they go about their lessons on a safe surface just after the first break. So I try to get as many horses as I can out before it gets chewed up. Because you try to prevent, it's called preventive medicine. You just try to prevent those things from happening. And sometimes you don't. Unfortunately, these things do happen. It's part of the racing game. But we're doing everything we can, and the protocols they put in place the last few years have been great. And a lot of eyes out there watching these horses. And if I miss something, maybe somebody else will see something else, and we get together and keep these horses safe. And it's amazing how much progress we made over the last few years in saving horses. So, great question.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that question. So we do have a Jeffrey Sangera here who wants to ask a question. So, Dad.
Well, mine isn't so much a question as it is a statement. And I think I alluded to this before when you had me on, Kevin. But I just want to reiterate to everybody just how incredible Craig really is. And he, our playground is probably the toughest playground on the planet, to be quite honest. And he's taken a family from Vancouver and he's allowed them to play at the highest levels of this sport. And in order to do that, it takes a very, very special individual. Craig and our family have a budget that is more restrictive. It's kind of like the Oakland A's and Moneyball.
Yeah.
We tend to keep our money on the field, as the guy said. And for you to keep our horses going like you have, and for you to be able to have the time and patience and build up a relationship where Kevin, my son, and Anita, my daughter, have been able to learn so much from you is an incredible rarity when having a relationship with a trainer. But the patience that you have, not only for my children and for me. I mean, I've been in this business a long time, and I still keep learning things from you, Craig. I just wanted you to know, and everybody here, that you don't find people like Craig very often, because everything you see about him is genuine. And he is, and you can take it from me because I've been around the block a few times. He is as talented as a horse trainer as I have ever known. And both of our fathers, both Craig's father and my father, both had a connection to the great Hall of Famer Buster Milrick.
Correct.
So we know what it takes to be a fantastic trainer. And Craig, you have that in spades. And I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that.
Oh, I appreciate that, Jeff. I really do. And like I said, I couldn't do any of this without clients, first of all, and people like you, and you guys are just as passionate in this game as I am. And I've been very fortunate to, have a father that pushed me, and get up, and every day, 7 days a week. It was tough at times, but this is something I really love, and I want to continue to do. And I've raised my family, and it's not easy raising a family. My wife and I are so proud of our girls, put them through college, and they both graduates of University of Kentucky. Our oldest is in Australia, and our youngest is here with us. And it's hard to juggle that, trying to be a father and at the same time train horses and be there, and like Jeff said, just be there for the clients. And that's just so huge to have that. I just try to make it family-like, and I think that's the best way I've had my success, is just being communicated with clients that way. And oh, by the way, train my horse for me. Okay. But I try to get that rapport with everybody, and it's worked for me. I mean, I'm 55 years old, and I plan on doing this the rest of my life. And with good people like the Singaras behind me, I know, and I'm in good graces there. That's for sure.
That makes the both of us, bud.
Thank you, Dad. It's actually funny talking about your clients. Someone that is on the wait list for fun too is Mr. Disrespectful's owner, Tony. That was cool to see. Hey, we actually have a really wonderful guy, Daniel Hoffman. You have your question, my friend?
I do. Thank you so much. Hey, Craig, when we talk about, or when we think about the potential success of a horse, and if you were to allocate 100% of the reason that horse is successful, how much would you apply to the horse itself, the trainer, the jockey that's riding the horse, and the owner that has the ability to identify a successful horse?
Yeah, well, those are all good questions, and key components to a good horse. But the animal itself, they have to have the mechanics, because if you have a horse that just doesn't have the right way of moving, and the heart, of course, that's probably number one. You could go out there and teach them all these lessons and move like a gazelle, but if they don't have the heart and will, which is so hard to find, guys, that's tough. It's tough to find. So maybe some of the pedigree comes into that, conformation, obviously owners. You don't have to have an owner that has to spend 6 figures on a horse. I mean, we've beaten horses, the Segura family and I have beaten $1 million horses. It's so gratifying to see that with our little 50 claimer, So it can happen. And that's why they call it the sport of kings, I mean, I've always said this, you could have all the money in the world and not really be successful in the horse business, as crazy as it means, you know. So there's always hope. There's always hope. Look at that story of Mind That Bird. I mean, you just go back and what they paid for that horse and go on to win the Kentucky Derby. It can happen. But again, the trainer too is important, I think. How to map out a schedule and bring the horse along, and you know, maybe this race is not quite ready for this point for this race, and there's a lot of behind the scenes strategic things that go down. So there's a lot of things that go into that. You know, and I think pedigree is important too. I mean, but then I say that, but then Re-Raise was probably didn't have any pedigree at all, and that horse has had the heart of a lion or champion, and you know, he just had the will to win. So you got to try to find that. You go back, you watch replays, you watch races, you watch horses that have trouble, you watch horses that want to go in between horses and get dirt in their face and run through that. Those are all the little things I look for. How the horse is finishing. And a perfect example is one of my best horses I ever trained was Awesome Gem. If you go back and look at all 52 races of him, it's the craziest thing. He's never going backwards, that horse. It's the craziest thing. 50 some odd starts. He's always moving forward, you know, and that just shows that he's always trying. Because as crazy as it sounds, that horse would never fade. He would always be coming at the end, no matter what kind of, you know, trip he got that day. The only time I remember was in the Breeders' Cup Classic at Santa Anita. Zenyatta ran right by him. And I never forget that. David Flores was on my horse, and he was running, but she was running faster that day with Mike Smith. But anyway, just a perfect example of always look for that. And a horse that's always trying to move forward, not going backwards. I think that's key and maybe a good claim. Yeah.
That's a really great question, Daniel, and great answer. It's funny, you know, you see, not to say anything, but you see SF Racing spent $14 million to try to get to the Kentucky Derby, and they're not going to have a horse in there yet. You go and see Skippy bought for $37,000, and he's won 3 greatest stake races in a row, the Pegasus, and you see the heart that horse has. So that aligns so well with what you're saying, Craig, and great answer there. And I think we have a couple more questions here. We have Amin, your pal Amin. You have your answer, your question.
Hi guys. Sorry, I don't have my camera set up right now. Apologies. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good, perfect. It's a random question. I see so many industries nowadays, like just a rapid you know, changes because of AI. It's quite interesting. So I was kind of curious, like, do you see anything on your end, or is anything changing or upcoming?
You got a question for me?
Yes.
I think so.
Oh,
You know,
AI meaning
like is
robot trainers?
Yeah, robot trainers.
I sure hope there's not a robot that takes over my training. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know.
You know, I mean, I think,
Put it this way, I was a flip phone guy up until about 4 years ago. So you know, when my beautiful wife here, set up all this for me right now. I am clueless when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm definitely old school when it comes to computer or anything like that age. So technology, I guess I should say.
Yeah, that's a good. You know, I mean, it's interesting. I think with you know, I think that there could be certain apps that could be developed, like for instance, an app that could track a horse's stride analysis, and you know, kind of something like that could kind of be involved in the future here.
Yeah, those are at the sales, Kevin. Those stride analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
So that, they start getting into that stuff. I know West Point Thoroughbred used that for many years, and they even try to measure the horse's heart, guys. So yes, to answer your question, I guess, yeah, there are things out there you could do, but can you really measure the horse's heart? You know, so
I know.
they try.
Exactly.
I guess I just have to wait for one to wink at me, right?
Yeah. All right,
He's
thanks
Tom Cruise in the cockpit.
That's it.
Thanks for your question, Amin. And I think John, you have a question, another question, my friend.
Yeah, if you don't mind jumping back in the pool real quick.
Please do.
So we're all here because we love the sport, we love the industry, we love the animals, we just love it as fans. Kevin knows the story. The first thing my wife and I ever talked about on our first date before we were even boyfriend, girlfriend was horse racing. And now we've got 2 beautiful daughters. We're at Emerald Downs every weekend. We're obviously part of Claim to Fame now. As you see the changes in the industry, the FanDuel TV news this week, there's a lot of uncertainty regarding the future of the sport. So from your perspective, but also from our perspective as the fans and investors, what do you think needs to happen in the industry and as the fans to continue the sport and make sure that we have a long, successful run where my daughters are taking their daughters to the racetrack on the weekend?
Yeah, no, great question, and it's a shame, really. I mean, it was a shock to a lot of people, and we're close friends with the Blackers, and you see Christina, she does a great job. I just feel terrible that she's going to be losing her job here soon, and hopefully there's something out there or another network that'll pick a lot of these talented people up and give them jobs. But no, that's definitely a black eye to the game a little bit, because it's promoting horse racing. That's what we need, more promoting of horse racing. And it's with this kind of going away, it's not going to help things. So hopefully they'll have another alternative moving forward, but promote the game. This is what I do for a living, and I don't want to pack my bags and have to go somewhere else. I want to be able to live here in Southern California and be able to train horses the rest of my life. So the Great Race Place is, there's a reason they call it that, and it's probably the most beautiful track in North America. It's Santa Anita, and you hear these rumors, this, and that, and I hope they're not true. And we got to go out there and promote this sport as much as we can in a positive way. And it'd be a shame if people stop coming out and enjoying the game. And we appreciate people like you and your wife and your kids coming to the track, and we need to see more of that. Hopefully, these partnerships are great. This is great what Kevin's putting on here, and it brings people into the game to be able to get a taste of the business and come out and bring your family. And we need more of that. We really do. So this is a great start, and hopefully it'll be a good trend moving forward.
Great question, John. Steve, were you able to fix your microphone, my friend? Steve? Steve, another thing you could do, there's a little chat button that you can click, and you can type your question, and I'd be more than happy to read it out for Craig. But in the meantime, if anyone else has any other questions, if you want to raise your hand, feel free. I have a question if Steve can figure that out. Craig, what was one of your more favorable trips that you've taken internationally for a big race? What has there been any trip that really stuck out in your mind? Was it Dubai? Was it Hong Kong? Was it one of those trips?
Well, at first I thought you were going to say the trip that we took to San Francisco. I mean, that's on the top of the list, but with your dad in the car behind us. But
one thing, yeah, I don't know if I should tell everybody that. That's sorry.
Yeah, we'll keep that in the hat. Yeah,
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus had something to do with it, but whatever.
Oh man, that's funny.
Great question, Kev. I would have to say going over to Dubai. In 2000, we were invited with a horse called Saints Honor. We had the squeaky young Kent DeSormo riding the horse for Steve and Beth Harold from Arizona. Great people. And I was able to train this horse, won the Stroob Stakes with him. He had an allowance race on the grass. I never forget this. And he ran fourth that day, had some trouble. I remember Kent DeSormo in a squeaky Louisiana voice saying, he's good to go. We'll see you in Dubai. I remember him saying that. And Mr. Harold was standing right behind me, and I was so excited. So we got invited to go to Dubai in 2000. Long story short, unfortunately, my wife was not able to go with me because we weren't married at the time. And good old Catholic Hispanic mother said, "No, you're not married, so you can't go." So I ended up taking my mother. My mother went with me to Dubai, and she had a wonderful time, and it was great. We bonded, and it was the best. But I would have to say Dubai. Went over there. They treated us like royalty. This is before 9/11, of course. This is in 2000. So they couldn't treat us better over there. I was there for about 10 days. Horse didn't run very well. It was unfortunate, but the trip that we had and the people that we met was just unbelievable. I remember going to a 5-star hotel, and I remember TBG at the time was set up. It was Frank Lyons. I don't think Todd Shrub. Todd Shrub might have been there too. And I remember seeing those guys all over there. And hey, guys, and they were all set up there with TBG at the time. And they interviewed me and all that. And I got a lot of accolades out of it. Horse didn't run well, but the experience was just unbelievable. So I would say, Dubai was probably up there tops of going internationally somewhere with a horse, and a lot of fun, lots of fun.
Oh man, I hope to have that experience with it. That is so cool, Craig. And
Mhm.
I think we're gonna be close to. Oh no, John, go ahead. Ask your question.
All right, I feel bad, but this one's on the more technical side of things. So you hear so many things from so many experts, but what is your personal and/or objectively best post position?
One of my favorite numbers, 3. I want to say Re-Rays won the Breeders' Cup Sprint post 3, I think too. No, I'm a guy. When I'm sprinting, I like outside posts because I don't like being down on the inside. It's how I train my horses to sit off the pace and relax. I've been at draws. Midnight Mammoth's a perfect example where I've actually been at the draw, just peering at the guy's eyes when they're sitting there shaking the pills, looking for an outside post for Midnight Mammoth. I keep drawing the inside every time. Yeah, so frustrated. And not that I'm superstitious or anything, but man, it's just I'm not a big favor of my horses down on the inside. I like the outside of horses and the outside of speed. And like I said, my favorite number is 3, but outside posts, sprinting and or routing would be my preference. I mean, look at the Kentucky Derby every year. Everybody's always, when they do the draw now, everybody else wants posts 18, 19, or 20. And it's just such a high percentage because you're not getting all bottled in by all that inside, stuff going on inside of you. So outside posts would be my preference, but it's when they're shaking the pills, I can't do much about it.
Well, you guys, if that's all the questions here, Craig, I really don't know what to say, man. I'm so thankful for you to be here today. We were all so excited when we were able to land you to do an educational day, and it's going to be hard to top this one. But I, from the bottom of my heart, man, we all really, really appreciate you and what you stand for, how you train your horses, the horseman that you are, and the uncle you've been to me. So really, really appreciate you, dude. And thank you again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope to maybe do this again sometime. But good luck to everybody. And I've always said in this game, I'd rather be lucky than good. That's for sure in this game.
Yes,
So
sir.
anyway,
Yes.
good luck to everybody, and appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Hi,
Bye.
Nan.
Don't